Hey, hello, my name is Miss Tina and you are listening to Squaziland, the occasional dose of my reviews, reaction and opinions. Today I'm going to talk about an anime series which was made in 1975 and it is called La Seine no Hoshi, which means the star of the Seine. It means the river Seine, which is in France. Romanticizing historical events was always sort of a cool getaway, and mixing in some love stories and some mysteries has been always very popular with readers, not just in manga or in anime, but as well as in, you can look at other series, even now they are running, Downton Abbey, Bridgerton, Peaky Blinders, wherever you go, you can see these historical events, and the best part of it is that you can choose almost any time period and you can make it your own. And this is what happened in the 70s. In the 70s, there was one particular manga and anime which was a huge hit, and its name was The Rose of Versailles, or as they also called it, Lady Oscar. And it took place during the French Revolution, or before the French Revolution and during the French Revolution at the late 18th century in Paris. And it was very historically accurate. Now, with the Star of the Seine, it's not so accurate as it was before. However, it still has some charm to it. It isn't as smooth in animation as Lady Oscar was. It had a tiny bit less, financial background for it, but still, it was just a very good representation of all those things that happened there. The story takes place right before the French Revolution, and we just, dive into the revolution, eventually leading to the unfortunate events that will unfold there. So our story is based around the main character, Simone. She's a female character, and she's possibly one of the first female characters who not only take on the leader roles, but she's sort of a masked superhero character. Of course, she's beloved, she's very nice, she's very pretty, she's very smart, the usual things that happen to female lead in Japanese animes and cartoons. However, she also has a secret. She thinks that she is the daughter of florist in Paris, whereas she is secretly related to someone very special. I won't tell you this because it might be spoilers, and there might be some people who, from nostalgia or whatever reason, might want to, just watch the whole anime. It is 39 episodes long, so it's not that bad actually. And the story features the Black Tulip, and that is a guy who is also masked, and he helps the poor. And there are rich people are bad, poor people are good, the usual things happen there. However, what I really liked about the story is that it shows that, yay, revolution is good. Or is it really good? Are the best people punished there or not? The French Revolution in itself is everyone thinks that, whoa, yes, this is about freedom and everything, but the further and deeper you go down in the French Revolution, what has happened there, who did what, and what happened during those few years, quite a few years, you realize that it's something worth making an anime out of. I mean, the true story of the French Revolution, or the true story as we know it, of course, because there is no true history, but it is so interesting and intriguing that it would take years, I think, for me to be at least somewhat confident in talking about the whole French Revolution thing. However, the story itself takes out a slice of it and tries to show us how small and poor people try to, live and get on by during these terrible times. So sometimes terrible, sometimes not. This is another thing I liked about the series, that it actually has people, there were problems. There were problems with the economy, and of course with the rich people and the soldiers and everything whatnot. But I really liked how things eventually started moving on, and it wasn't just all about it, all rich people are bad, all poor people are good. There was a very nice mixture of the characters. And Simone, our main lead character, was actually adopted by a rich guy later on, and she was taught how to fence. She was taught in school, so she got everything she needed. But the Black Tulip guy, and the Black Tulip was actually based on a 60s movie, which was starred by Alain Delon. And it's not about the original Black Tulip, which was written by Alexandre Dumas. It's completely different from that. Anyways, the Black Tulip decides or asks Simone to help him, and Simone decides to take on the name of La Seine Hoshi, the star of the Seine, and she fights against the evil. I mean, it's quite obvious that it's her, behind the mask, but she has some interesting dress on herself, which is quite revealing, at the time. I can't believe that in the late 18th century someone would wear something like that, but never mind that part. There are the usual side characters, of course. So we have an annoying kid, we have pets, animals, and we have sort of dead parents and dead people all around, possible love relationships, and unfulfilled loves. So you have in the series, well, almost everything. And Simone is fighting for two things. Basically, she's fighting for the poor. She's fighting against injustice in general, which is, a great theme for a series made especially in the mid-70s. And also, we have to mention that Simone is also looking for the white spots in her past, because there are some things she's not aware of. Who is she related to in reality? And for her, it takes numbers of episodes until she finds out who she is. Meanwhile, us, the viewers, I think it was in episode 7 when we realized, or when we got to know her true backstory, so who she is. And then we got other characters into the mix. Of course, we got Marie Antoinette, the usual people, the key people from that time period. But as I mentioned before, it's not as historically accurate as Lady Oscar or the Rose of Versailles was. So that's why it's not on the top shelf when someone is looking for an anime about the French Revolution. Usually everyone says that you should watch Lady Oscar. That's it, because that's quite accurate. That makes you interested in the French Revolution. But this story, La Seine Hoshi, can do the same. It's a watered down version of Lady Oscar, basically. Not the same. It's not the same story. It's not about the same thing. Although I have to mention that both characters can fight well, so you have some parallels, obviously, but not in the annoying way. So you can clearly see that it was inspired by the French Revolution and the success of the Rose of Versailles, but it still has its unique characteristics. As it was made in the 70s, don't expect much from the animation, or as you could have probably heard from the opening songs and ending songs. So it isn't as grandiose or as special as you might want it to be. However, if you have seen it on TV before, because in Europe they broadcasted it, I'm not sure about America though, any part of America. I'm not really familiar with their broadcasting system, so I have no idea. I'm sure that in Europe it was broadcasted, but I'm not sure about the other countries. However, I think it did quite well. It was actually sort of one of my favorites back then, when all I could watch was basically a couple of animes, and I really liked it back then. it was one of my first animes I actually watched, and I was aware of that this is a Japanese cartoon. After that, of course, there came the bigger hits like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, the usual things, Pokemon, etc., etc. But La Hoshi no Seine was the first one I really enjoyed, because for me, even back then, it had a greater plot, and it had just a consistent plot. I mean, there were obviously some flaws in the plot. I'm not going to entirely praise it to death, because it wouldn't be too honest of me to say that, wow, this is so great, everyone should watch it. It is not a must watch, but it's so nostalgic, and it's so great to see the character that I would recommend it to you, just because of the old feelings about that anime used to be like that. I mean, in the 70s, holy moly. And this is one of the first animes which really got me into this style of stories. It was, you know, more serious. It dealt with death, it dealt with loss, it dealt with characters, you know, who didn't get everything. It dealt with the fact that at the end of the episode, you might not get your happy endings. So it was a story, and it was a full story from the first episode till the last episode, the 39th episode. You got everything, and everything was, you know, like, and this is the end. You knew it was the end, and you were satisfied and happy with it. Back then, when it was broadcasted, when I saw it on TV at least, usually cartoons were like, so they were very episodic. You could only watch cartoons from Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network even, but you know, cartoons weren't as smooth as this cartoon was, and it had an overarching plot which was really intriguing, and you know, that's what really caught my attention. And of course, that it was about history. I didn't know back then that it wasn't historically accurate, because I was too young to know too much about the French Revolution. But you know, when I got to the French Revolution in my studies, I was like, I knew it. I knew that part because I saw it on TV. And then I realized that there were some minor mistakes in my general idea of the French Revolution. How many times did I say French Revolution? Let me know in the comments. Probably too much. Anyways, so Simone's adventure. Simone, by the way, in the German version, because I saw the German version. I'm not German, but I saw the German version. She was called Nadine. So maybe you are familiar with the name Nadine a bit more. Anyways, Simone's character is the greatest character, and of course there's the Black Tulip, and there are some evil characters, there are some nice characters, hide characters, happy characters, characters who just, you know, are there to annoy you, and there are some episodic elements there as well. You know, Simone comes, saves the day, then she goes back. Sometimes her identity is in grave danger, and of course the revolution also happens. So yeah, I think it is a quite well put together story overall. If I really have to think about it, I would say that Le Seine Hoshi, the star of the Seine, is a very cute, is it very cute? I'm not so sure about the very cute part, sorry about that. Maybe it would say it's very nostalgic. Yeah, that's the correct word I was looking for. It is very nostalgic, and if you are interested in old style animation, I think it's a great introduction to the animation style of the 70s. There are, of course, better stories ahead, and maybe I'll do a review on them as well. So make sure you check in with me later on, and I hope that you like this video, and maybe I made you feel a bit more nostalgic as well. Some of you might have seen this anime too. If you haven't, you might want to check it out. I think, I'm not sure if it is on DVDs or anything like that, but who knows? You know, you can search for it, you can look for it, maybe you will find something and you can watch it in a higher quality. I can't really help you with that. I'm just here to talk about this nostalgia that came upon me. Okay, so if you have any comments, or if you have seen it or not seen it, but you are interested in the story, make sure you leave a comment. And of course, if you can, and if you think it was a good video, please leave a like. And also, if you want more videos like that, please subscribe and show me that you are interested, because that's when I can actually get through to you. Thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
La 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 Seine, la Seine の星